Welcome, whoops, to this week's live Q&A. I've just lost my notes. There's always a drama here with me. Hi there. Um, in case you don't know me, I'm Vanya Fatidis from Peaceful Eating, where I help people, mostly women, let go of all the rules around food, come back into a trusting relationship with their own bodies, and reclaim their innate worthiness so that they can really live their lives unapologetically, doing what they love. So each week, I answer questions that have been submitted to me. And this week, I have three questions. The first one is about what to say to people who comment on your body. The second one is whether or not your body could really be asking for cake. And the last one is what to do when your job encourages you to be, your job requires you to encourage people to be losing weight. And lastly, I'm going to tell you about my upcoming 12-week coaching program, How to Live a Life of Peace with Food. So stay tuned so you can get all of the details. All right, let me begin. So this week, oops, let me get to the first question, which is this. How can I respond to well-meaning family and friends who comment on my weight or shape? They usually say nice things like, you're looking thinner, or have you lost weight? You look great. I know they're trying to be supportive and want to make me feel good because they're used to, oh gosh, sorry, this is just going a little bit, because they're used to me either being on a diet and wanting encouragement or having fallen off a diet and wanting reassurance that I look okay. If I'm to successfully get off the dieting yo-yo bandwagon and embrace peaceful eating, these kinds of comments are really unhelpful because they suck me back into wanting to be thin. What can I say to them without losing their friendship and support? So I think this is such a really great question, and thank you for bringing it up. I think a lot of people are going to be able to relate to what you're talking about. So I think there are three levels on which we could be working. The first is the personal, our own responses to the things that people say to us, because we are not in charge of what people around us are going to be saying at any given time. And really building our capacity to be able to just hear what people are saying without reacting to it in a negative way for our own well-being is surely the one of our personal development goals. I mean, just think what life could be like if we had, in a way, the skill set for it to be water off a duck's back, so it just doesn't penetrate and throw us off course. I know it's easier said than done, and we'll talk about the how you develop that for yourself. Then there's the social level, which is where we have conversations with people about things that matter to us, because this is how we connect with people. It's how we give and receive support. And so, particularly for the people you're close to, the people who are really in your life, who matter to you and you matter to them, this is an important thing. And that's really what you're asking about. And then the third thing is on the level of the culture. So let me start with the personal. So I think this is why I really love the practices of mindfulness and self-compassion. These two things together are incredible in terms of how we cultivate this kind of resilience. So mindfulness is just very simply paying attention moment to moment to our whatever our experience is without judgment. Okay, and compassion or self-compassion is about noticing that we're hurting, that something's not feeling okay, something's difficult, the struggle. So being aware, so that involves the mindfulness piece, the awareness of that there's a struggle happening or something's difficult right now. And then there's kindness for ourselves, and compassion in general is kindness for the other. And then there's the recognition that we're not alone, that there are other people who are suffering in pretty much the same way as we might be actually at this moment as well. So, if you are, say, you're in a situation with a group of people, a group of friends, and they make a comment like this, what I would be practicing is noticing. So somebody says, "Hey, you look great. Have you lost weight, or you're looking thinner, or whatever it is." So in a way, what I'm asking you to do is kind of freeze frame in that moment. So in the freeze frame, you just notice what's happening in your body. So it's like, okay, I'm feeling the contraction, I'm feeling the tension. Or maybe because it's a so-called positive comment, you might be feeling, kind of happy or excited or whatever. The point is that you notice what is going on for you. Then you bring compassion to yourself. So, yeah, I'm noticing, here's a body comment. Then you bring in the compassion. This is difficult. This is hard for me. Be kind to yourself. It's okay. We're going to be all right. And then you could perhaps even just remember there are lots of other people who have the struggle like I do, or like I'm having right now. If you can keep track of those aspects in the moment, but really, if you simply notice, recognize to yourself what is happening. Here's a body comment. Notice that this is a difficult moment for you, and give yourself kindness. If you can do those things, that would be fantastic. So the next thing that I suggest that you do, and you can practice this not in the moment, right? You can do some kind of role play in your own mind outside of the situation, so that when you're then in the situation, you can bring to mind. You will have practiced it a few times. Our brains don't actually really know the difference between a real and an imagined thing. So you can use this to your advantage and practice to yourself. And then in real time, in real life, it'll come a bit easier to you. So the next thing you do, gosh, my notes keep falling off. I've got some sticky tape that I've stuck them on my computer with, but I think I need to get myself some blue tack. So the next thing to do is connect with what really matters to you. So in this social situation with these people, what really matters to you the most? Is it connecting with them? Is it connecting with yourself? Is it taking care of yourself? Is it expressing love and joy? Just connect with yourself around what really matters to you in these situations. And then take an action that lines up with what really matters most to you. So say it is love and connection with people, then let that come forth. Express that. It's so great to see you. I'm so happy to see you. I'm so happy to be with you. How are you? Or how is so and so? You can deflect from the comment and move past it. That is one way that you could deal with it. But say the thing that matters most to you is to take care of yourself in that moment, then give yourself some kind of compassion. You could, without anybody even noticing or knowing, you could just, touch yourself. You could put a hand on your tummy. You could just give yourself a little squeeze or something, just so that you know you're there for yourself. And then so that's taking an action. So you're acting in alignment with what really matters to you. Okay. And that is how we keep creating the kind of life and relationships that we really want, right? It's connecting with what really matters to us, taking a little tiny step. It doesn't have to be a big thing. So that's more on the personal level. Then you're looking at the social level. So this is actually talking to the people who matter to you about what matters to you. So you can do this on your own terms. It doesn't have to be in that moment that you're actually meeting up with these people. You could do it after you've seen them. You could feed back, or you could do it in preparation for seeing people, or just sort of call somebody up on the phone, or you could send them a text message. But what I suggest you do is speak from your own experience. So you're not trying to tell them that they're doing something wrong or they're doing something harmful to you. Instead, what you're doing is saying something like, you know, I want to share something with you that's been going on for me. Um, I've really learned lately that dieting just really doesn't work for me. It just makes me really obsessed around food. In fact, what happens is I'm sort of on the diet, off the diet, on the diet, off the diet, and all I can do is think about food and think about my weight, and I'm just so tired of it. And I'm trying something else, which is letting go of all of that and really just trying to listen to my own body and eat what I want and let go of all those food rules. And it's just such a relief to be doing that right now. And I just wanted to share with you that there are a few ways that I would really value your support. And I was wondering whether you'd be willing to support me with this. So what you're doing is you're making it about you and you are requesting their support. Now, you've already said that they are really well meaning, they have the best of intentions, and they're wanting to encourage you and give you what they think you want. So now what you're going to do is ask them for what you actually want. Okay. And so you could share with them what will really help me is actually not to comment on my appearance at all. And what would also really help is just not commenting on anybody's appearance, not saying somebody looks good or somebody's lost weight or put on weight or that I look good or that anybody, just no comments about bodies. And you could share with them why it's really helpful for them to do that. And the reason it's really helpful is because when they make a comment about your body, it um, draws your attention back out of your body so that you are then looking in that internal mirror. It's almost as if you're looking at yourself from outside yourself, and then you start thinking about your appearance and that you should, if you're looking good, you have to carry on doing this, or you should, take more extreme measures or whatever it is, and it just hooks you back into that. So you could help people step into your shoes and understand what it is that you're going through, what goes on for you. You make it all about yourself, what happens for you. So this is one thing that you could do. You might share with them about, really commenting about food being good and bad. What it does is it sets up in me this kind of all or nothing thinking. And what I'm really working on is just letting food be food. So food doesn't have any moral value. It's not good or bad. It's just food. That's what I'm really working on. So what would help me to neutralize that for myself is just, this tastes delicious. Let's talk about how delicious it is rather than this is healthy or this is not healthy or you're being good or somebody else is being bad or any of that kind of stuff takes me away from really trying to listen to my body. And I'd really value your support. Would you be willing to help me with that? Something like that. And you see, by you doing that, you are helping them learn something that can then impact how they are being with other people without without ever feeling like they've been doing something wrong, because they might just really learn something and wake up to something. There are two things that I forgot to mention. The one is, to have compassion for them because they've got sort of tied up in the whole diet culture story. And the other thing I wanted to just say in terms of when I said take an action that lines up with what you want for yourself, what really matters to you, one of the things that you could do as an action is just a little mantra to yourself. So you could say something like, "My body is an instrument, not an ornament," or all bodies, all bodies are good bodies. Something like that, a little mantra that can just help you to reconnect with that and reaffirm for yourself what really matters to you. So I hope that that helps. And what I was going to say is that as you do your work and your family and friends support you, that is going to have an impact on the culture because we make the culture, right? Our actions repeatedly are the things that create culture. So that's how we do it. All right, let me get on to the second question. I've restarted on my intuitive eating journey after panicking and going back into the diet binge cycle a couple of years ago. I am so ready. I'm checking in with my hunger and satiety cues, and no foods are off the table. But let's face it, I'm never really going to be hungry for cake. How can I include it in my eating? I love this question. Thank you for bringing it. I had a little giggle when I saw that because I get hungry for cake. And so the thought that came to me was, why, when you say, let's face it, I'm never really going to be hungry for cake, I wonder why you believe that. What I think is going on is that that's diet culture talking. Because what we get drummed into us is that if you're really listening to your body, it's only going to want natural food, whatever that means, unprocessed food. It's nonsense. Look, salad dressing is processed. That's processed food. You're mixing ingredients together. Olive oil, lemon juice, garlic, mustard, a little bit of honey or sugar, some salt, some pepper, some herbs. That's probably got as much ingredients in it as a cake. But why is a salad dressing okay and a cake isn't? Why can your body want salad dressing and your body doesn't want cake? I think it's diet mentality. I think it is conditioning around what we think we should want, what we are taught to believe our bodies would really want. Yes, 100,000 years ago, they didn't have cake, but they also didn't have salad dressing. They didn't have carrots, the kind of carrots we have now. They didn't have any of the fruit that we have now. Food was very different. Okay, that doesn't mean it was better. People are living longer now. People are living more healthier lives now. So, that's really mythological. So, what I would say is don't second guess yourself. If what you want is cake, let yourself have cake. What I would say is do what you can to stay connected with yourself. And I'm not saying that just about cake, right? I'm saying it about everything. Usually people will think, oh, I must really be very mindful now while I'm having cake. Why? Because the little diet brain is saying you shouldn't have too much of that. You shouldn't go over a certain point of that because, that's actually fattening or, that's it's not a good, not very healthy or all of those things. No, stay connected with yourself because that's how you are going to take the best care of yourself, whether you're eating a salad or whether you're eating cake or whether you're not even eating, whether you're tired, whether you are angry or hurt or bored or, whatever might be going on for you, staying connected with yourself is the best source of information you will ever have. And so it's the best way that you're going to take care of yourself. So that is my suggestion for you. And I hope that that's helpful. And let me know if you enjoyed the cake. So the last question is, what do you do if you have a job that includes encouraging people to lose weight? And how is this combined with intuitive eating? And again, this is a great question. It probably won't be relevant to most of the people who are watching, but who knows? It might be relevant to some people. But just so you know, I'm not a medical professional. And so I'm not really the best person to advise you about this, but there are some incredible people you could be consulting in a kind of supervisory capacity. about how to navigate your work situation when you do not actually believe any longer in the perceived wisdom or received wisdom, whichever it is, both. But I will say this that might help. Surely any medical professional who is advising a patient should be giving them the advice with informed consent, right? They need informed consent in order to accept the advice that's given. So, how do you get the informed consent from them? Well, you need to advise them of the risks of the the advice that you're being told to give or that is out there that is the generally accepted advice. So, for example, if it is that they're told that they need to lose weight in order to bring down their blood sugar numbers or improve their insulin response, you could inform them. And what I will do after this is I will put in the comments some helpful articles that you can um, share with your patients. You can read yourself that will help build the case for the the risks that they'll be taking. So one of them is that almost everybody who attempts weight loss regains the weight within 2 to 5 years. Most of them before even 2 years, but the outside 5 years. So if weight loss is supposedly going to be helpful, then dieting and focusing on weight loss is not going to be the thing that is going to help because they will almost always regain the weight. And actually what has been found is that weight cycling, so yo-yoing, is linked to this, is also associated with the same sort of conditions that higher weights are associated with. So is it the higher weight or is it the weight cycling? We don't know, but what we do know is there are relationships here that we need to pay attention to. So that's another thing to consider. And the last thing I wanted to say is that there is also evidence to show that actually incorporating different kinds of behaviors are way more predictive of your health outcome than your weight. So that is really quite encouraging. And most people just feel so relieved when they hear that, oh, you mean if I, say it's for diabetes, if I'm really just not needing to worry about weight loss, but I'm really just trying to manage these numbers as best as I can by combining however you're going to be eating and exercising, that will be enough. And well, yes, surely, because if you're bringing down the numbers, the blood sugar numbers, isn't that what matters? So I hope that that is helpful for you. I will link some things in the comments so you can take those away and use them. There are some great people that you could actually consult. There is Fiona Sutherland, who is an awesome dietitian in Australia. She runs a company called The Mindful Dietitian. There is, and even if you're not a dietitian, she will consult with you. There is somebody called Lucy Aframore who is here in the UK. She's also incredible. She's a dietitian. Then there's Migret Fletcher in the US, who is a diabetes educator and dietitian. And she, in fact, has a whole website called um, Weight Neutral Diabetes Care, I believe. I think so. Anyway, I can link all of them as well in the comments, and you can seek them out or look on their websites and do your own research and see how you go. So the last thing I want to talk about today is my 12-week coaching program. So I wasn't going to run it again so soon this year. I was going to do it towards the end of the year, September. But I've had quite a few people emailing me and saying, when are you going to be running it again? And I just thought, you know what, with all that's going on in the world right now, and so much kind of uncertainty and upheaval, and people struggling with their changing bodies in the lockdown, with comfort eating, emotional eating, and it becoming more of a problem rather than less of a problem. And I just thought, hey, why not? I'm going to run it. So I'm actually going to start quite soon, starting on the 16th of July. And I wanted to share with you, why I created this course. Really, I wish that this course had been around when, at the age of 21, I'm going to be 53 in October. So at the age of 21, my dad sent me to a dietitian because he said to me, this is no way for a young woman to be, starting out her adult life. Subtext was, you're too fat and you need to lose weight. I mean, my dad's sweetest, kindest, most wonderful man, and he never said that directly, but basically that was the subtext is, you know, um, you need to lose weight. So off I went to a dietitian, and bless her, she is a wonderful, incredible woman who actually also studied psychology. So she had an incredible toolkit, and she said to me, just eat when you're hungry and stop when you've had enough, and just eat whatever you want. I was like, what? She said, don't worry about your weight. Just, eat eat when you're hungry. Eat when I'm hungry? You must be joking. I'm always hungry. I'll never stop eating chocolate if I do that. I really didn't know how to do what she was suggesting to do. And to be honest, she didn't actually help me take these steps and help me unravel what I needed to unravel so that I could reconnect with my hunger and reconnect with my satisfaction and trust my own body, and trust my hunger and trust my fullness, and know that it was okay. And this course has all the elements in it that I believe you need to come to a place of food. Place of food. Yes, come to a place of food. Come to a place of peace with food and start the journey of coming to a place of greater acceptance with our own bodies. I'm not promising you that in 12 weeks you will get there. We're always going to be on this journey, to be honest, because we're always needing to eat, and our bodies are always changing. I've hit menopause in the last year or two, and that's changed my body. And before that, I had children, and etc., etc. And I'm getting older, so hey, bodies change. That's an inevitable fact of life. And so this is a continued journey. But what I teach on the course are really all the skills you need. It's a coaching program, which means that every week we hang out together with however many other people. I do limit the group sizes, so we will hang out with a maximum of 15 people, but I usually keep the groups to about 8. And we hang out once a week together, and you get personalized coaching. Now, I've been on many courses before where the coaching is like this: you type in your question, and then I deliver an answer. It's not like that. You have your opportunity to actually speak to me, and we unravel whatever is in your way. And it's different for everybody, right? It's the same and it's different on different levels. People at different stages of their own development within themselves, their own understanding about what diet culture is and what fat phobia is, and their own relationship to their own bodies. So what I help you do is take your next steps. And sometimes the reason why it's hard to take your next step is because you're resisting something. We need to figure out what that is. Sometimes it's hard to take the next step because that step isn't manageable for you. So we need to backtrack and find out what is the actual next step. It might be a little micro mini baby step, right? So that's what I help you do. And the community of these women is extraordinary. It is such a joy for me to do it. I absolutely love it because it's just miraculous how people hear each other, how people are willing to be vulnerable, and how everyone learns from everybody else. And it's just so precious. So I would love you to consider joining us. You can go to my website, www.peaceful.eating.co.uk /how to live a life of peace with food. I know it's a bit of a mouthful, but that really is what I'm teaching, how to live a life of peace with food. So we're starting on the 16th of July, and I'd love for you to join us. All right, that's it for today. Take care and lots of love. Bye for now.